On my son's 10th birthday, my own mother handed his special present directly to my nephew and bluntly declared, "Only well-behaved children truly deserve gifts." I just remained silent and smiled. A short while later, my own son quietly asked, "Is Grandma mad at me?" And I replied, "No, buddy, she simply forgot who pays her entire monthly mortgage." When her mortgage payment was due again, I received a staggering 102 missed calls. Can you imagine watching your own mother, your child's grandma, take a birthday gift right out of his hands and give it to someone else? And then she looks him dead in the eye and says, "Only well-behaved kids deserve presents." My son, Leo, just turned 10, and that moment, that was the breaking point. What would you do when your family pushes you that far? So, my name's Matthew. I'm 36, just a regular handyman. Got my beat-up white van, a trusty dented toolbox, and a list of clients who know I get the job done right. But before all that, I'm a dad. To my son Leo, he just turned 10 last Saturday. 10. This kid, he lives for Lego, soccer, and that little cloud of steam that fogs his glasses when he opens a fresh pizza box. We decided to host his party at my mom's place. She'd insisted, "It'll be nice to have everyone under one roof," she'd said. But family, for us, that word always came with strings attached. You just couldn't see them until they were pulled taut. Her living room was packed, balloons bobbing, paper plates everywhere, and those half-deflated foil tin numbers leaning sadly to the left. Then my sister Kelsey strolled in, 20 minutes late, with her son, Owen. He's the same age as Leo, but louder, way louder. Owen just barreled through, snagged the best spot on the sofa, and immediately started tearing streamers off the wall. And Kelsey? She just stood there, pretending not to notice a thing. Mom floated down the hallway, clutching this glossy blue box with a silver bow. And that smile, the one she always saves for an audience. "Let's do presents," she chirped, clapping her hands. Leo, bless his heart, stood there, beaming, like he'd practiced this moment in the mirror. "Thank you, Grandma," he whispered, his cheeks pink with excitement. He's such a good kid. Too good for what happened next. Mom looked at him, then over at Owen, and her mouth just tightened. "Only well-behaved children deserve gifts," she said. It was soft, yeah, but it was sharp, like a razor blade whisper, designed to sting. And then she turned, handed the box, Leo's box, right to Owen. "Here, you be careful with it." The whole room went silent. Not a normal quiet, but this heavy, suffocating silence. My ears actually started to ring. Kelsey let out this weird, fake laugh. "Mom," I tried to say, but she just raised a hand, silencing me. "Matthew," she cut in, he talked back earlier. He slammed a door. "I won't reward bad manners." My son, my sweet Leo, he just stood there, staring at the floor. That hurt more than anything. He didn't argue. He didn't cry. He just got small. I forced a smile. It wasn't real. It was the kind you wear when your jaw is clenched so tight it aches. I cut the cake, poured the soda, nodded politely at the relatives who always managed to remind me how handy I am. "You should really take a look at my porch sometime." I didn't make a scene. I never do. On the drive home, Leo was quiet, watching the streetlights blur outside his window. Then, a tiny voice. "Is Grandma mad at me?" My heart just sank. "No, buddy," I told him. "She just forgot who pays her mortgage." He frowned, confused. "What?" "Nothing," I quickly said. "We'll talk later." When we got home, I just went through the motions. Took out the trash, put the leftover pizza in the fridge. Then I stood at the kitchen sink, staring at my hands. Rough from the cold, scarred with nicks from old screws. I rubbed that shiny crescent scar where a drill slipped last month. Just stared at it. A few days later, when the mortgage payment came due again, my phone absolutely exploded. By noon, 102 missed calls. Calls from my mom. "Call me now. Matthew, answer." "You can't be serious." And the family group chat? It just pinged nonstop, like a smoke alarm screaming. I wiped my hands on a shop towel, took a deep breath, and finally, I picked up. That was the moment. The very first time I said no out loud. People talk about boundaries like it's some trendy new hobby, like crochet or pickleball. For me, they'd always been that one browser tab I kept promising myself I'd close after just one more click, one more favor, one more payment. This whole thing, it really started years ago. When I was 19, my dad just left. No big speech, no note, just a quiet garage and an empty space on the pegboard where his favorite wrench used to hang. Mom, she cried for a month. Then the tears turned to pure rage at the world. Suddenly, there was a mortgage and a roof that leaked every single spring. I fixed them both, one with a tarp and a ladder, the other with endless overtime and way too many cheap meals. I eventually moved out, but never really far enough. I became the guy with the tools, the truck, the can you swing by, calls that always morphed into 3 hours of unpaid labor. Oh, you're just so good at this stuff, Matthew. Mom would coo, handing me a cold coffee after I was already halfway done on the roof. A compliment used as currency. When Kelsey got pregnant young and her boyfriend bailed, who built the crib out of pine? Me. When she suddenly decided Owen needed a private school for structure. Guess who forked over the registration fee? Just this once, she'd said. When Mom's water heater died, I hauled a new one up those basement stairs alone. I had bruises that looked like a road map for a week. And you know what? I didn't mind, not at first. It genuinely felt like doing the right thing. But then it started feeling like my job. And then, worse, it felt like it was my fault if I ever said I was tired. Money was always that quiet, uninvited third person at our family table. Mom worked reception at a dentist for years, then her hours got slashed. Kelsey bounced between salon jobs and some online course she was trying out. Me? I built my handyman business the old-fashioned way, word of mouth and grinding through long Saturdays. I wasn't rich, not by a long shot, but I was steady. And in a family like mine, steady gets noticed the way a full fridge does. Useful. Assumed. Invisible. 3 years ago, Mom called me, sobbing. She'd fallen behind on the mortgage after a double whammy of a car repair and a dental bill. "They'll take the house, Matthew," she cried. "This is where you kids grew up. I'll help," I heard myself say, without even thinking. I set up autopay from my account to cover the difference. I told myself it was temporary. She told me she'd pay me back. Of course, she never did. We never spoke about it again, except when her tone got sickeningly sugary. "My lifesaver," she'd coo, when I changed a light bulb, like the bulb and the house were the same damn thing. Kelsey, though, she got used to it even faster then. "Mom, you're doing amazing," she'd tell me. And then, bam, a Zelle request for Owen's camp deposit, complete with 3 little heart emojis. If I ever dared to push back, she'd go silent for a day, only to follow up with a voice note later. "I just thought you of all people would understand how hard it is." The family group chat was its own special kind of circus. Mom's endless updates, Kelsey's filtered selfies, distant relatives chiming in with "so proud of this family." If someone posted a casserole and I didn't reply immediately, Mom would text me privately, "Is everything okay with you? You've been distant." Distant, as in, I hadn't paid for something yet. Last winter, my business dipped pretty hard. I cautiously told Mom I might need to reduce what I covered for just a month. She didn't ask if I was okay. Her response? "Well, I hope you're not being dramatic. Your sister's relying on you, too." Relying on me for what? I finally asked. "Just things," she'd snap. "She has a lot on her plate. Be generous." Who's generous to me? I muttered under my breath. They never heard that part. It was all these little cuts, you know? They just added up. Like when I replaced Mom's entire back door, and at Easter, she told everyone that Uncle Tim had helped her because he'd lent her his tape measure 12 years ago. Or when I finally got Leo that new bike he'd been dreaming of, and Kelsey sniffed, "Must be nice," then immediately asked if I could cover Owen's soccer fees again because it's unfair if only one cousin gets to do things. I tried to keep the peace. I swallowed so much. I kept counting the months, hoping the mortgage would shrink enough for me to finally hand it back to her. And then, Leo's 10th birthday, the blue box, the bow, and Mom's voice, cold and clear. "Only well-behaved children deserve gifts." But here's the part that really matters. Leo didn't slam a door. Owen kept following him into the bathroom, flipping the light on and off, just being a pest. Leo said, "Stop," and gently, firmly shut the door. That was it. That was the disrespect plot my mom decided had unfolded. After the party, my phone was buzzing. First, a text from Mom. "We need to talk about Leo's attitude." Then Kelsey. "You know, Owen didn't mean anything. He's just spirited. Maybe Leo could be more flexible." Flexible? Like my knees when I'm crawling under a sink? Like my bank account when the bills hit? I didn't answer that night. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the stack of transfer confirmations I'd saved. Because I'm not stupid. Every single mortgage payment, every school fee, every Zelle request, complete with those sickening heart emojis. I added them all up, using one of Leo's stubby homework pencils. The final number, it made my jaw just click shut. I stared at it, and all I could think about was the way Mom's eyes had just slid right past Leo when he blew out his candles. Then, these little, greasy things started showing up. I noticed fresh scratches on my van lock, like someone had been trying the wrong key. And then, when Kelsey asked me to help her move a dresser, her trunk popped open, and there was my spare cordless drill. Right there. Oh, she chirped. I meant to ask. She hadn't meant to ask. It would have just lived there, in her trunk, until I finally went looking for it. And Mom. She posted a photo of Owen wearing that blue box hoodie with the caption, "My good boy." No mention of Leo. Nothing about his actual birthday. In the comments, Aunt Carol typed, "Grandma knows best." I just put my phone face down, stared at the ceiling, wishing it could somehow explain why I'd let myself be treated like a walking debit card with a toolbox. Payday rolled around. That auto-pay reminder for Mom's mortgage popped up. And this time, I clicked pause. It felt like removing a deeply embedded splinter. A sharp sting, then clean. Finally clean. An hour later, my mom texted. Everything's still set for the 15th. I just slid my phone into my pocket and went to install a mail slot for Mrs. Diaz. It was one of those bitter cold days where your breath hangs in the air like you're telling secrets. I finished the job, took the cash, even wrote out a receipt on a piece of cardboard because my printer's always out of ink. That night, I finally told Leo what I should have told him a long, long time ago. Words he could actually hold on to. You didn't do anything wrong, bud. Grown-ups can be wrong and loud at the same time. He just nodded. Are we not going to Grandma's anymore? He asked. We'll see, I said. But we are going to the park Saturday. And you're picking the pizza toppings. He smiled. Small at first, then it just spread across his face. It felt like someone had finally turned a bright light on in a room I'd been working in the dark for years. When mortgage day finally hit, the calls started. First 1, then 5, then 20. Mom, Kelsey, then all these unknown numbers. Probably Mom calling from her office, the neighbor's landline, a borrowed cell, anything to get through. I just set my phone on the workbench and kept sanding. Sawdust floated down in little golden drifts. The phone vibrated and vibrated, until it finally slid against a screw and just thunked to a stop. I let the calls pile up. 102. It almost looked fake. Then I picked up. Matthew. My mom's voice. It landed hard. All brittle sugar. Why is the mortgage payment missing? I paused it. You what? It wasn't confusion in her voice. It was pure disbelief. Disbelief that I had the nerve to do anything but comply. I paused my portion. I calmly repeated. I'm not paying it this month or next. There was this silence. The kind that feels like a storm backing up on the highway. You can't just... She exhaled, sharp and furious. Do you want me to lose the house? Your childhood home? Are you punishing me because I disciplined your son? Is that what this is? It's because I've been paying your mortgage for 3 years, I said, my voice steady, like I was reading instructions. It's because you handed my kid's birthday gift to another child and told him he didn't deserve presents. It's because I'm not an ATM. You're being dramatic, she snapped. You know I'll pay you back when things settle. This is temporary. I glanced at the spreadsheet I still had open on my kitchen counter. You've said temporary 38 times. Oh, you're keeping score now? She scoffed. Wow. I've always kept score, I said. I just never showed you the scoreboard. She immediately switched tactics. What about your sister? She relies on your help for Owen's school. He needs stability. Leo needs stability, I shot back. He needs to know his dad will stand up for him. So, you're going to let your mother sink because your feelings are hurt. She tried to make me feel small. I didn't raise my voice. No, I'm going to let adults handle their own bills. Then, from the background, I heard Kelsey's voice. Put him on speaker. Matthew, she chirped brightly. That fake, sweet tone you use when you're about to upsell a customer. Let's not make this ugly. Owen's tuition is due. Mom's mortgage is due. You've always helped. What changed? I watched my son get smaller in your mother's living room, I said. That changed. Oh my God, she said, and then she laughed. The kind of laugh that echoes in the wrong part of a movie. This is about a hoodie? You're going to blow up the family over a hoodie. This is about respect, I shot back. And money. And how the two have to live in the same house. Kelsey just huffed. If you're trying to punish us, it won't work. We'll figure it out. Good, I said. Figure it out. Mom's voice came back, lower now. More venomous. You're going to regret this. When they put a notice on my door, the neighbors will see. You'll be the one who made that happen. Mom, I said, gently. The bank puts the notice on the door. Not me. Are you proud of yourself? She demanded. Because I hope this is worth it. I looked at Leo's science project, drawing on the counter. A cardboard volcano, red paint pooling at its base. He'd been so worried it wouldn't erupt on cue. We'd tested it 3 times. It worked every single time. I told her. I'm proud I'm finally doing the right thing. Matthew, she screamed, her voice cracking into pure anger. After everything I've done for you. I honestly tried to think of one thing she meant. I waited, gave her space to say it. She didn't. Just heavy breathing. And then, Kelsey's faint whisper from the background. He's lost it. I just ended the call. I immediately typed into the family group chat. Effective today, I'm out of the bank of Matthew business. Mortgage, tuition, fees? Not my responsibility. Attached is a summary of what I've covered since 2022. Going forward, please do not ask me for money, tools, or my time without offering payment and a schedule. Also, do not disrespect my kid in front of me again. If you do, we leave. That's the boundary. I attached that spreadsheet. Dates, amounts, notes. The blue hoodie day wasn't on the list, but it was absolutely the headline in my head. The explosion was immediate. Aunt Carol, family doesn't keep receipts. Cousin Drew, this is tacky. Mom, delete that now. Kelsey, you're sick. You need therapy. Just then, Leo wandered into the kitchen, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. Morning, he mumbled. I put my phone down. Poured his cereal. The messages kept pinging through breakfast, through washing dishes, through a sink repair across town, where the client kept apologizing for calling me on such short notice. You're fine, I told her. And I meant it. It felt so damn good to help someone who said thank you, like it was a genuine word, not a leash. At lunch, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I wouldn't have even answered if I'd known it was the bank. A calm woman, with a perfectly calm voice, informed me the mortgage was already 30 days behind, even before I stopped my payments. Mom had told me it was just a few days late. This calm woman started talking about foreclosure timelines and co-signers. I'm not on the loan, I stated. No, she said, but your name is on the payment history. We assume. Assume less. I cut her off and wrote down the dates anyway. Facts are armor when people throw feelings at your head like rocks. That evening, Mom called again. They said they're coming to post a notice next week, she sobbed. Not really crying, just performing it. You want me humiliated? I want you to call the bank and work out a plan, I said. Sell the second car. Ask Kelsey to pick up extra shifts. Stop buying that $80 salon shampoo. You have no right, she snapped. I have receipts, I said. And I hung up. That first week after I stopped paying, my own house felt louder, somehow lighter. It's amazing how quiet a phone can be when you just don't answer. I changed the settings. Do not disturb for everyone but Leo's school and my clients. The group chat became this dusty fish tank I just didn't feed. Sometimes, when I felt petty, I'd peek in. Mostly, I didn't. I half expected someone to show up at my door, furious. They didn't. Instead, they tried other angles. Aunt Carol texted, "Your mother is in pieces." I typed, "She's an adult," and then I erased it. I wrote, "I hope she calls the bank," and sent that instead. She replied with a prayer hands emoji and a whole paragraph about forgiveness. I muted the thread. Kelsey started posting those ridiculous quotes about toxic people. You know, the ones with watercolor backgrounds and curly fonts? One said, "Sometimes the takers call you selfish when you stop giving." I actually laughed out loud. A real, honest-to-God laugh. It felt good in my chest, like finally coughing up something that had been stuck there for an hour. Then the practical stuff started to shift, too. I locked my van, moved the spare key. I even installed a simple camera on my front porch because I was just done wondering who was touching my tools. I told 2 clients who always forgot their wallet that I now required upfront payment for materials. They paid. Of course, they always had the money. They just liked the bargain of my patience. With Mom, I was polite but short. If she texted something normal, like "How's Leo?" I answered. But if she slipped even one guilt barb into a message, "I guess you're too busy for your mother," I'd just put my phone down and take Leo to the park. We built new routines. Friday became make-your-own pizza night. He'd shred the cheese and arrange pepperoni like constellations. We'd watch dumb shows, and he'd narrate the commercials in this hilarious British accent for some reason. Sundays were project hour. He picked what we fixed: a wobbly chair, a sticky drawer, a skateboard with wheels that screeched like a shopping cart. I taught him the difference between a Phillips and a flathead. He taught me that if you lean your head against the couch arm just so, it's actually pretty comfortable. News traveled, even without my help. Mom called fewer times, but she posted more. Long, rambling posts about how it breaks a mother's heart when a child turns away. People she hadn't seen in years would comment with heart emojis. Neighbors would ask me passive-aggressive questions when I parked on her street to fix Mrs. Diaz's fence. "Everything okay with your mom?" I'd just say, "She's figuring things out," and leave it at that. About 2 weeks in, Jess, an old friend who cuts my hair in her kitchen to save me a few bucks, texted me. "Your sister called me to put a color service on your tap." I sat on the edge of the tub, just staring at that message. "What did you do?" I asked her. "I laughed," she wrote back, and told her I don't have a tab. "And even if I did, it would have your name on it, not family." "Thank you," I typed. Her reply: "Boundaries look good on you." Man, that felt good. The dreaded notice went up on Mom's door on a Tuesday. Yellow paper, black type, taped with stuff that would definitely rip the paint when it came off. I know because she sent a photo to the group chat with the caption, "Thanks, Matthew." I didn't answer. Cousin Drew, cold. Aunt Carol, unbelievable. A neighbor I barely knew posted a crying face emoji. "And here if you need anything, sweetie." Kelsey even DM'd me separately. "Take it down, or I will." I didn't go over. I didn't touch it. Instead, I went to Leo's parent-teacher conference. I listened to his teacher talk about how he helps another kid with reading without making him feel bad. I watched Leo swing his legs under a chair that was just a little too small for him now, and I thought, yeah, this is the house that matters. That Friday night, Kelsey finally called. From a number I didn't recognize. I picked up, mostly because I was just tired of jumping every time the phone rang. "What do you want?" she snapped. "Not hello." I shot back. "It says blocked on my end." "So, we're already in a mood." "You did this to Mom," she accused. "She's sick over it. She can't sleep. Her blood pressure is up. She can also call the bank." I replied calmly. "She can't afford the payment without you." "She couldn't afford it with me either," I said. "She just postponed the crisis." "You're so cruel." "I changed a policy," I told her. "That's not cruelty. That's adulthood." She tried another direction. "You know what Owen asked me today? He asked why Uncle Matthew doesn't love Grandma anymore." My stomach just flipped. I let the silence sit there, heavy. "You taught him that," I finally said. "When you use love as a tool." Kelsey scoffed. "We're done here," she said, and she hung up. But we weren't. Not really. A week later, she texted again. "Can you at least fix the railing on Mom's porch? It's unsafe." I stared at that one for a while. Then I typed, "Send me a time, and I'll bill you for materials and labor." She replied with a photo of a middle finger made of emojis. I muted her, too. Done. Then something truly unexpected happened. Mom called me on a Sunday afternoon. Her voice was small, genuinely small. "I talked to the bank," she said. "They can do a trial plan. It's still a lot." "That's good," I told her. "It's a start." A beat of silence. "I sold the Honda," she added. "I didn't want to, but the insurance was killing me. I can manage with my coworker driving me twice a week." "We'll see." "That's smart," I said. And I meant it. She cleared her throat again. "There's something else," she said. "The other day, Owen took Leo's hat and wouldn't give it back." Kelsey laughed. "And Leo?" I saw his face. "So I told Owen to return it. He threw it. I made him pick it up and say sorry." I pictured my mother's hallway. I pictured her hand, firm, on a kid's shoulder. I pictured her looking at a boy who wasn't mine, and for the first time, truly seeing the boy she'd made small just last month. "Thank you," I said, my voice a little thick. "I'm not apologizing for the birthday," she quickly interjected. He slammed the door. He closed the door. I corrected her. "And we're not doing this again." A long exhale on her end. Fine. Then, almost so quiet I barely heard it. He's a good boy. Yeah, I said. He is. That night, Leo and I made pizza again. He arranged pepperoni to spell out 10, right in the middle. He laughed at his own joke, like it was the most original thing anyone had ever done with meat and dough. It was, at least in our kitchen. Another 2 weeks passed. The group chat cooled down. The passive-aggressive quotes dried up. The prayer hands moved on to someone's sprained ankle. The yellow paper finally came off Mom's door. In its place, a new, smaller note, taped from the inside. Please use side entrance. For some dumb reason, that made me smile. Mom, choosing a way forward, even if it was sideways. Work got busier. A client referred me to a property manager who loved that I gave a time window and actually showed up at the start of it. I raised my rates $10 an hour. No one even blinked. I bought Leo a winter coat that actually fit his arms and didn't make him look like a marshmallow. When I paid at the register, I didn't think about who else needed money. I thought about how he'd wear it to the park and zip it up to his chin. One late night, I got a text from an unknown number. I'm Kelsey's friend. Just so you know, she's been telling everyone you cut her off because she wouldn't lend you money. People are starting to see through it. She borrowed from 2 of us and never paid back. You're not crazy. I just stared at the ceiling. I didn't need the validation, but it landed in a soft place anyway. Not crazy. Just done. The next morning, Mom sent a photo. It was Leo and Owen, sitting on her couch, each with a bowl of popcorn. Leo's hat was on his head. Owen's elbow was noticeably far away from Leo's arm. The caption simply said, "Movie night." No pointed comments. No quotes. Just 2 kids, 1 frame. I kept it. That ugly line still echoes in my head sometimes. Only well-behaved children deserve gifts. Usually when I'm standing in a hardware aisle. But then I see Leo at the park, yelling, "Dad, watch." And my jaw just unclenches. Do I feel guilty? Sometimes, yeah. A little. But I have so much space now. In my wallet. My calendar. And most importantly, in my head. I fix my own stuff. I sit on the floor and build Legos with Leo, phone face down. If something falls, we just rebuild it together. Mom and I keep it short. No money talk. She asks about work, I pass along hellos. If a guilt hook shows up, I just let it drop. Kelsey and I, we're polite. Sometimes she sends a photo of the boys. I hit heart and move on. That spreadsheet? It's still there, in a folder labeled Old Business. When that little voice in my head says I overreacted, I look at those numbers and think, no, I actually waited too long. The point is simple. I won't bankroll my own disrespect. I won't teach my kid that love equals swallowing anything. His self-worth isn't for trade. On Leo's actual birthday, the day we usually just do our thing, just us, he asked, "Are we still going to Grandma's sometimes?" "Sometimes," I said, "when it feels good." He nodded. Okay. The next day, a small package came. No bow. Just a simple hoodie in his favorite color. The note said, "For the good boy." No speech. Just right. We hit the park that day. "Dad, watch," he yelled. "I'm watching," I said. And I was. Bills and feelings will keep coming. My answer stays steady. I help when there's respect. No is a full sentence. I love you isn't a coupon. If anyone ever forgets who pays for their roof, literal or not, I just point to my door. It hangs level. The latch clicks. And this house? It smells like Friday pizza and Sunday sawdust. A kid inside knows he deserves gifts because he's loved, not because he performs. So, I gotta ask you guys, have you ever reached your breaking point with family? How did you finally draw those lines? What would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your stories.